Hello. Today I'm going to be talking about 3 brand new spinning wheel prototypes I've been working on. Now, the point of this video is that I can't work on all 3 of these. I've kind of gotten very crude prototypes for each one done, just because I knew these were the 3 general directions that I could go, and I'm hoping that the community, you specifically, will help me by filling out a survey that I've linked to from where I posted this video. And by filling out that video, it'll really help me decide sort of which of these is the most important one to the community, and that'll help me formulate which one I want to spend more time on going forward. So the first one is actually the least changing from any. So ignore the colors, that's just how my 3D printer printed this. I ran out of the white filament. But so the idea of this one is actually pretty simple. This is actually similar to the electric eel wheel Nano, but it's bigger size. So this is actually slightly bigger than the electric eel wheel 5.2. The bobbin capacity will be probably 50% to 100% bigger. I haven't finalized that yet, but I have decided I can go to a bigger bobbin with the plastics that I'm using. It works similar to the Nano in that the bobbin slips out through the top. Some of the big improvements over the Nano that are possible, because the cost would probably be about the same of what the electric eel wheel 5.2 is, which it's currently $260. So because of that, I can add a tension dial, which is nice. The spindle, this would be one of the biggest changes, would be all steel. Right now it's just plastic here, but it would be a steel spindle. There'd be higher quality switches, and I'm really excited about this motor. So I'm definitely planning to use this motor. I need to do a little more testing, but this is a brushless motor. I've always used brush motors in the past. This will last like 10 times longer than the motor on the electric eel wheel 5.2. It's more expensive, which is why I've always avoided these, but I've found a manufacturer of these kinds of motors that can do it at a price that would work around the price point of an electric eel wheel 5 series, which is, you know, that $260 price point. So the motor will cost more, but the case actually, once I've got all the tooling done, will cost less. So that kind of offsets things, and that's why I can sort of do this for the same price. And I think this would be a little bit quieter than the electric eel wheel 5.2. I'd make it a little bit faster because of the better motor. Basically, it's a nice iterative step up from how the electric eel wheel 5.2 worked, but it's nothing sort of revolutionary. It's just sort of a progression of things. Now this one is a complete change. Now the spindle here would be longer. My 3D printer ran out of filament, so it's really short here. But basically, this would be a treadle spinning wheel. So you'd treadle it with your foot. This is the highest risk spinning wheel that I have here, the one that I'm least certain about. So if you sort of look at the back, you can see that it doesn't actually go all the way around. And that's where the most of the risk is coming from. The problem is that normally on treadle wheels, you have this big rotational wheel that acts like a flywheel, and it kind of keeps the inertia and the wheel spinning in the right direction. In order to make something this small, I would have to put in some gearing here and then put a steel spindle up here, and that would add some weight. It still would never have as much inertia as the big traditional wheels, but until I kind of get that far along in the design, I'm not sure if this is going to work. But I've never seen anything like it, so it really interests me. And I do think, you know, I would obviously make this much prettier, and it would be this really sleek design like we did for the Nano, but, you know, something in this size, maybe even a little bit smaller, I could have a treadle wheel. And remember, the spindle is going to be sticking out like up to here or something. So I could find an angle where you set this on the floor and you're just feeding it in from up here when you're sitting down. I really think it would be, like I said, I've never seen anything like it. And the price point on this would, I think, around $200. I haven't really finalized all of my components for this one. This one's the the earliest in the design process and the most different from any of my spinning wheels. So there's no motor. I mean, I guess I'd be interested in, do people want a treadled spinning wheel that's super small? So it wouldn't be called an electric eel wheel anymore. It would be probably some kind of eel wheel, and I'd put some other word in front of it because there's no electricity required for this one. And I'm not sure it will work, but if there's a huge amount of excitement over this, that could drive me to putting in the gearing back here and getting the proper weighting on the spindle to sort of figure out if it actually does work. My hunch is that it's possible. I'm pretty sure it is possible. The question is how much effort's going to go into it to get it to work. And it's something I'd investigate if there's a lot of interest. And here's the third one. This one I've put a lot of work into. There was a previous version. So this is how I would envision the auto flyer working. So the way, there's some competition out there that's been around for a few decades called the Woolly Winder, and they move the hooks back and forth. There's a lot of disadvantages to that kind of a system. It adds a lot of weight to the flyer, and it makes things off balance when the hooks are in certain positions. The flex causes the Woolly Winder to lock up at higher speeds. So I kind of rethought the whole process, and I was like, well, how could I do it without moving the hooks? And what I came up with is instead I could move the bobbin. And that's basically what this system is here. And I've got a circuit board I've prototyped, and so the tension would be controlled here with this dial, and the bobbin moves up and down. I actually have, let's see if I set it here. Can you still see? Yeah, so it needs a little bit of angle, but before I was thinking it needed a lot of angle, but now that I've prototyped it to this stage, I don't know what that angle is, maybe 10 degrees or something tilted up is really enough. And now if I plug it in, I don't have all the software worked out, so it's just going to start going, but you can kind of see that the flyer's spinning, and then there's a different motor that sort of moves the bobbin around. And I mean, this is basically functional. The reason it wobbles and makes so much noise is because all of these parts are 3D printed. But I think that if you go to sort of a metal design for the spindle, that would smooth a lot of things out, and that's just because I have the dial hitting. But I really think this could be made as quiet as the electric eel wheel 5.2, and it would have the auto flyer system in it, so you wouldn't have to ever move the hooks. The hooks actually stay in the same spot. So the yarn is always here, it's just that the bobbin is moving to different places. And on this one, this would be more of a premium wheel. I would probably include like a Bluetooth controller so you could connect with your phone and see the exact RPMs of the motor, see how much time you've spent spinning today, or maybe it would have a graph of how much time you spent every day spinning. I'd be interested in what kind of feedback people would like to get if they connected with their phone from a spinning wheel. The phone would be completely optional. You wouldn't need it, but you could get additional information if you plugged it in. So this one would, again, I don't have an exact price yet, but maybe $400 or something for something like this, which, is a pretty good deal, considering that the bobbins would, be the same. I think they're like $8 or $9 today. So the bobbins would be the same price as existing bobbins, and you'd get this auto flyer functionality, connection with your phone and stuff. So that's the most expensive and sort of a deluxe, throwing everything I can think at it that people would like, but it's more expensive because of that. And there's this one, which is sort of priced at the same price point as the electric eel wheel 5.2, and it's got the better motor and a plastic design. And then there's this sort of very different direction, but it's a treadle wheel, a very small treadle wheel made out of plastic again. So again, I'll put a survey link wherever I've posted this video to, and I'm hoping that you guys in the community will go and fill out that survey and give me lots of feedback, which will definitely help me pick a direction that I want to go with on the these spinning wheels and which one to spend more time with going forward. Thanks for watching.